The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tokucast Reviews.
What?
Episode
Yeah, okay.
of Tokucast Reviews.
What did he say?
Episode.
Episode, what was it, 82?
Yeah.
82. Zyuden Sentai Kyoryuger, also known as Daigo Sentai King Ranger. Also known as the prototype of Ryu Soldier.
I don't know. I think Ryu Soldier's doing this better.
It depends on what this is in terms of your... and what you could... in meaning characters?
Yes.
I need to catch up on Ryu Soldier, but we'll have that argument
Characters
later.
multiple.
Oh, that would be an interesting revival for who would win, Ryu Soldier versus Kyoryuger.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah, when Ryu Soldier's over.
Yes.
Anyway, we are reviewing the main series of Kyoryuger.
Yes, welcome to Kyoryuger Month, where we
Marcus's least favorite month.
Oh, it so is. But it's followed up by fruit salad. So, work with what you got.
Yeah. Use what you got in the kitchen.
You're welcome. This is Matt's month, basically.
Pretty much, because this is one of my favorite Sentais.
It is one of my...
And I mean subjectively speaking. If I'm talking...
Well, of course you mean subjectively speaking.
But I am fully aware of its problems and its issues. I just had too much fun watching it to really let it bother me like some people did.
Kinda like
Heaven
games.
forbid he's nice. Sorry, we just had that argument off screen. The only reason he doesn't like King is because he's nice. Well,
He's just a shonen protagonist.
and
A
I like
generic shonen.
I mean,
I like shonen. I'm currently experiencing a guilty pleasure of a shonen anime right now. So
Is it
what's
called?
that?
Black Clover.
Of course it is.
I know,
Okay.
it is the most generic of generic, but I'm still enjoying it. And that's all that matters, because I'm not thinking too hard. And I really just watch in the background when I'm at work.
Fair enough.
Hopefully none of my managers watch this. Like they watch this.
Kyoryuger.
We'll start where we always do. The opening.
I like it a lot.
I really like this opening.
I like it a lot.
It is...
It's one of the most sing-alongable.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Of all the
it's one of the
openings.
few openings in Sentai I never skipped. And that I actually learned or tried to learn the words to. I'm very bad at learning Japanese words and songs. Unless it's sung by, I think, a Canadian band. There's this one anime opening I know like all the words to, but they weren't Japanese.
Mine is next season, so...
God, that was a good opening, though.
It was.
We'll talk about that.
This is not my favorite
Let's just
opening
turn
in
this into a
Sentai.
guy review.
No, I'm not talking about that either.
No, he's talking about Tokucger.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
That's
Go,
a good one, too.
Go. Anyway,
That'll be episode 80-something or other.
this is not my favorite Sentai opening, but it's definitely up there.
Oh, no, it isn't mine either.
But
I don't know what
agree.
mine is.
I think it still does the apps. I think it does everything right in terms of setting the tone for what this show is, especially since it also adds in the few Spanish lines.
Portuguese.
Portuguese, yeah.
Oh, it's Portuguese. Fair enough.
Samba's Brazilian.
Fair enough.
All right, I took notes, so I actually have this labeled out a little bit.
I
better
love
this
how
time.
he hates the show, but this is like the most work he's done for a review,
I decided to start doing this from here on out just to make sure I don't skip anything.
which you normally do.
It's true.
Look at us actually trying to be a professional show.
I know, right? It's weird.
How strange.
That's not why they like us, though.
It is this time. I'm dying inside. All right.
That still is going to be on someone's Twitter before the end of the day.
Isn't that a good thing?
I mean, I think somebody still has their banner of us dabbing.
Yeah, that was a thing we did once.
Don't do it. I'm not doing it with you. That was also awful.
I know. That's why I did that on purpose.
Okay.
All right.
So with
Now,
episode 1?
yes. What is the name of episode 1? Because I didn't actually put that in here, though.
The name of episode 1.
I didn't say I was good at this.
I took notes. They're
his-
missing a lot of information.
It's his first time.
But I
He's
can-
here, the bright red king.
Yep. There's the problem.
Gee! It's almost like
Hey, it's telling you straight up, this is his show. It is not giving us any reason to think otherwise.
True. Now, since this is the first episode, basically the first few episodes of this are very introductory.
Yes, they
But
are.
in the first episode, we get to meet King, Joy of Joy. And
King,
Daigo.
aka Daigo.
Daigo.
How many Sentai have we had named Daigo?
I mean, names are recycled a lot in things.
Yeah.
I know, but it just seems Daigo comes up a lot. Is it the Steve of Japan?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, Daigo.
Lee.
He's red. He We meet Torin for the first time here.
One of the best mentors in Sentai, in my opinion.
Pretty damn great. And spoken red, but we also meet a giant T-Rex.
Gabutira.
Yes, Gabutira. Oh, feathers. Those are a thing here.
Yes,
this T-Rex has feathers.
It does.
It is some of the most
trying to be scientifically accurate.
Scientifically accurate as we can be with
when
dinosaurs.
you're a giant robot.
Yeah, giant robot
and
dinosaur.
Dinosaurs that we're not 100% sure what they look like, but we're trying.
Yes. Now, this team does not come together immediately in the first episode.
Which I kind of like.
Yeah.
So, he meets the rest of them after being granted the powers of the Red, and we see the first transformation fight scene, which should we talk about the Henshin sequence first?
And how it takes 40 minutes. First time they do, it certainly does.
Oh, because it keeps going to each one of them. No, because half of them don't even show up.
No, it's just Daigo by himself.
Yeah.
It still takes a while.
Well, it's because it's the first time. It's the first time you're seeing it. They usually get through it a lot.
My loathing of overly complicated Henshin sequences is leaking through.
Ah,
I
the
can't
Samba.
tell.
I mean, it's Samba. I still think I'm glad they tried to integrate it more in the. They understood that this is odd to let the villains just do this, so they integrated it more into the fighting as the series goes on, rolling the chamber off of weapons and sometimes even projectiles.
Let's actually talk about those. Because this is the first time that Sentai has changers that are guns.
Or weapons in general.
Mm-hmm. Taking a page out of DN's book.
Yeah.
So we get the
Gabba
revolver,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I still think...
I think it's a cool design.
It is a really cool design. I think
Definitely fits with it definitely goes well with their suits.
It definitely goes well with the aesthetic of the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not too... I want to say annoying, but it doesn't drag on in terms of the actual verbal cues. Gabricho.
Okay,
Gabutira,
that's fair. That's fair. I'll give
It's
you
really
that.
just Gabricho and whatever battery you put in. And then it plays the music until you pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Daigo doesn't technically end up meeting the rest of the team, but they do end up meeting at a cafe. More or less by coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
He meets the rest of the team in suit.
Yes. Now, Ian is a flirt. He's black. But he is a haunted man, as his friend was killed by one of the bad guys. Davos, as just a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Those are bad guys.
They're the boss.
Do you get it?
Well,
You heard that? That's just somebody stabbing me.
Yep.
But
I still think the Wizard of Oz motif they were going for.
it is very interesting here. I like the fact that was what they based this off of.
Yeah, the designs.
I thought that was very cool. I like the fact that they worked that into
Yeah,
this.
at first. Then later villains are introduced that don't go by that motif.
No, they do.
Mm.
They still do.
Even what's his name? The candle guy?
Mm-hmm. He's a monkey.
Oh, he is a flying monkey. God damn it.
All right.
The
Ian is a flirt, but he is a haunted man, and his friend was killed by Ogeron in Great Britain.
crying suit of armor.
Yes.
Because also all the villains depict a emotion. The three main generals depict an emotion.
They each have 1/4 of a personality each.
But that's kind of but that's purposeful.
Yeah, that's on
It
purpose.
was a joke.
I know. So he is sadness.
Yes,
So
Ogeron
he's
is
always
sadness.
crying. And I also love how it took, I think, me like 7 episodes to realize he has a wind-up key on his back.
He does.
Mm.
Actually, forgot about that. Thank you for bringing that up.
You're the one who pointed it out to me in the first place.
Soji is the young one who was good at sword fighting. He's actually the youngest in terms of the actual
Actors.
actors here. Amy is rich and a girl. She's
But
the only
not
girl in
the
the main team.
stereotypical heiress that we would get, like with Jetman.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. She's sort of the opposite of how Kaori was.
Mm-hmm.
Which was nice to see.
Yeah.
Then we have
Ulsan,
the
who
old
was
one.
the old man with bad puns.
Nobuharu Udo.
And his sister is one of the best women in Sentai.
His sister is
Deca Yellow.
the same actress.
Ayumi Kinoshita, a.k.a. Jasmine, a.k.a. Espadeo.
A.k.a. Jasmine Boys, but they are.
And each of the other 4 have their own different, very unique fighting style. Ian focuses on marksmanship with his gun.
Soji's a swords.
Soji is not only a swordsman, but a reverse grip, which we don't see a lot in swordsmen.
Mm-hmm.
Pink is
Mm-hmm.
kick-focused, and Blue is a wrestler.
Yes. And as I said, like the first couple couple of episodes is really just the team getting together,
Because-
showing off the mech.
Showing off the mech and really
Setting up our...
King getting them out of their shell because they're all like, this is not us. This is just like a job.
Mhm.
We'd rather not know who you are.
Because originally they don't want to reveal their secret identities to each other. They just want to keep this completely separate from the rest of their lives. And
Until they realize they can't.
Until they realize they can't.
Well, they can't because Daigo doesn't let them.
I also think that if you don't trust the people you're going to be fighting this whole thing with, you're not going to do as well. Imagine what they would not have been able to accomplish if there was that wall between all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They may not have even gotten the mech.
Let's talk about the mech. Not a fan.
It took some growing on me, but overall design-wise, no. I also don't like mechs, and this is the same for like Ryu Soldier. When you start off with like 5, but the mech only is 3.
But it's only 3. It works for Abba Ranger, where there only are 3.
And then the 2 are introduced later.
And the 2 are introduced later, but they're either so big that they function as a carrier, or they focus as an add-on, or they're their own separate mech.
Yeah, but this one is completely different.
It's pieced together. Like the one in Ryu Soldier, but I'm a much bigger fan of the one in Ryu Soldier, specifically because I don't like the fact that Gabutira, not the fact that he's like the main part of it, I'm over that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the fact that the shoulders are what they are.
Oh yeah, the shoulders are very bulky.
This is a huge...
They're very bulky, and also during the fights, they're wobbly. It has that wobbly plastic effect where it looks like they're about to fall off.
It's very blocked. But the thing is, it's really just Gabutira is the problem.
Pretty much.
Like mechs that are introduced later look fine, in my opinion, and really don't have the same problem. Like
depends on the mech.
Yeah.
I mean, the gold pterodactyl mech I think is great.
We'll talk about that one later.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, the main mech can basically, red's the main part, blue and pink are the first 2. Speaking of which, this one does not have a yellow in it. It has been a very long time.
Also, pink is a Triceratops and not blue.
Sure, this is different. This has been a very long time since we haven't had a yellow on a team.
We also have a Velociraptor for the first time.
Seriously.
Which I think is really cool.
I thought it was great. We get a lot of first dinosaurs in a dinosaur themed Sentai. The first Stegosaurus Ranger, the first Raptor themed Ranger, and the first whatever black is. I can never remember what it's actually.
Parasaurolophus.
Yeah, Parasaurolophus Ranger. And we get at the end of the season, we'll get the biggest team in Sentai, I think, into that up to date when it was airing.
Yeah, up until the point where it was airing. After that.
After that, Q Ranger happened.
Q Ranger said, we're going to start with 9, because fuck you.
Now, episode 3 actually shows us Soji's father, who was a previous Sentai actor. He was
That's right.
Goggle and Dyna Black.
Right.
And the Earth's melody is a thing.
This
music is kind of a theme in this.
Kind of a theme.
Kind of because they have the samba when they henshin, and every now and then they'll try and sneak music in there, but for the most part, it really doesn't have anything to do with anything.
It's really an afterthought.
It's an afterthought, yeah.
Now the Daybot are actually trying to bring back.
They bring it up in the movie hilariously.
We'll talk about that because I have a problem. But the Daybot are trying.
When we get to the movie,
yeah,
okay.
The Daybot are trying to bring back Boss, who was actually like their base.
Yes.
This is very reminiscent of Gingaman. Because their base was also the thing that they were trying to bring back. But they're trying to do it by using emotion. Now, Davos has destroyed other planets before. And they're trying to bring it back this time. Interesting stuff.
Yep.
Episode 5 is the first appearance of our first Cyan Ranger, Ramirez.
Who bears a startling resemblance. I cannot speak.
Oh,
I can't judge.
The struggle on both of you right there.
Who looks very similar to Mia Marcus's college roommate, who you will actually see during our Gaim review because he has requested to be a part of it.
Yes.
So we'll just call him Ramirez for the whole month and see what happens.
Now, Dogold is one of the generals on the side of the Daybos. And in episode...
Also, can I just say I like Ramirez a lot?
Ramirez is fun.
He was fun. I like how his character's not Japanese, so he speaks broken Japanese, but the actor speaks Japanese fluently.
Yeah.
I think that just is a lot to his acting talent.
I think the actor is half Japanese, half Canadian.
Yeah. But I think that just speaks a lot to him as an actor that he can fake broken Japanese pretty well.
But yeah, Dogold is one of the generals, and in episode 7...
The cowardly lion.
Yeah, the cowardly lion.
Cowardly lion if he was just angry all the time about everything.
He's the embodiment of anger.
That's what he is.
That's what he is.
I don't care, it's still annoying.
I don't think so. I think it works here because that's legitimately who he is.
That's legitimately like his character. That's like from the beginning, they all embody emotion. The armor is sad. He is angry. And
he's also... Well, we'll find that out.
Yeah, the chick is happy.
Yep.
And slightly into BDSM if you look really closely at her design.
Oh, yeah, that mask. But the first appearance of Terragodon happens in episode 7. This is the first time we get to see the mech of the future Six Ranger, but it's under the control of Dogold at the moment, and it has a cool cape.
My badass cape.
Now, in episode 9, Dogold's mask is broken, showing that there is a person inside. King thinks it's his dad. Mori told him it was a lie. Also, we find out that Dogold is actually armor. He's not a person.
He's living armor.
He's living armor. And in episode 10, we find out that the person inside was actually an old Kyoryuger, Utsusumi Maru, a.k.a. Uchi, a.k.a. the best character in the show. He is. Don't at me. But
making sure, because I thought of somebody else for some reason. Who are we talking about?
Uchi.
Okay, just making sure, because I thought of somebody else for some reason.
Uchi is freed from Dogold in episode 9.
He is a samurai.
Yes, he is an old samurai in old clothes that get changed later on. But apparently his lord or whomever that he originally fought for looks just like King. So that
because of course he does.
That establishes their relationship right away.
Generic shonen plot number 76.
Pretty much, because King's whole thing for a good portion of this is trying to find his dad.
Uh-huh.
Dogold, after Uchi is broken out of him, constantly takes over various the higher versions of the mooks as a new body.
Oh yeah,
they don't last.
We didn't talk about the aesthetic of the mooks and everything.
Yeah, they're based on viruses.
I guess.
Is that what it is?
They look like viruses. They look like amoebas.
It makes sense because then they also can fuse together. So. We also think about this where they can fuse together into the giant dinosaur-like Godzilla things.
Yeah, I know.
So it makes sense. Cells coming together to make something bigger and better.
I don't see it, but if you say so.
No, I don't see it, but I think
to me, they just they look like
amoebas.
I don't know, Rastafarian crocodiles that are wearing zebra pajamas.
I want
that is an interpretation.
I want some fan art of that.
You.
Please post that in the Discord. Fan art of whatever the fuck he just said, because I can't repeat it.
All right. Episode 10 is the first full appearance of Uchi, as we said, and the gold suit. Let's talk about the gold suit. I like this one. We actually haven't talked about the suits at all. Let's talk about the suits.
They're great.
I love these suits.
I
love these suits. These suits are fantastic.
You disagree?
Not the biggest fan of them. I really don't like the scales on the arm. I really don't like it. It breaks up the suit weirdly for me.
I think because it's just a different shade of their actual primary color, I think it works, and you really don't see it a lot. I thought your biggest issue was the sash that makes their logo.
I'm not the biggest fan of the sash either, and
I really like the sash.
I'm honestly a bigger fan of something that happens later, but I'll talk about that later.
I just love the design of the helmet overall as well.
They also get on the armored portion of their armor. They can brave in on it and make their own personal weapons. I'm not a fan of these weapons.
I'm not a fan of them either.
Aesthetically speaking, no. But
even functionally, just
I don't mind.
They hit things a little bit harder with them, but that's about it.
Well, there's the shield, and then there's the blaster,
and the Kentaro Spiker.
Which I'm glad it wasn't a giant sword and it was a big spear. I like the Kentaro Spiker.
I like the way they used it. How they actually have to throw it, in order to use it, which is
otherwise
pretty cool.
It would just be Power Ranger again.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I remember us bringing that up. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. So I love the Kentaro Spiker. I just don't like that their battery, the face of the dinosaur is just...
Oh, yeah, the Zyuden.
The face of their dinosaur is just plastered on it, giant and zoomed in.
Yeah.
But I love the suits overall besides that. Yes. And Gold's is also very well done.
His is probably my favorite just because of the accoutrement that it has on it with the wings on the back.
Yeah, the wings on the back that actually become functional.
Yeah. You can fly with them.
Nice touch.
And Terragodon is actually given back to Uchi in this episode as well.
Are we going to talk about that mech now? Or
Yeah, we can talk about Terragon. Actually, we'll do it here with episode 12 because this is the debut of Zyuden Kyoryuger after Uchi officially joins the team. I like Terragon.
I like Terragon.
I like it better than the main mech.
Oh, yeah. And I like that it can also use the attachments and the armaments that have been collected thus far.
Yeah. It can actually be used on this particular mech.
Ankydon and Zaraptor and Paraglodon.
Yeah. And this is also the debut of Zyuden Kyoryuger, which is the combination mech of these two.
Which is just the main mech with wings. And who wears the helmet of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the other Rangers...
Very reminiscent, I think, of...
By that I mean I think Terry Gordon's okay. The combination one knee.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It makes it look really blocky.
It does.
Because the wings aren't...
They're already pretty blocky.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing.
Gobatier
the mechs are already pretty blocky.
This just makes it even more so. I think like the wings just
It reminded me of Kaku Ranger when they get the eagle that just attaches to that.
I think that one works better because the eagle's wings are thinner.
No, I'm not saying this worked better. It reminded me of it.
I don't blame you. Episode 16, this is the debut of Dino's Grander, which is primarily actually used by Black. It's a drill Zyudenchi that they can use to drill out of situations. It's like an alligator
type
thing. It was wild at first, and then they get trapped under like a rock that's falling on
Which
them.
one is this?
Episode
16.
16?
No, like which is the Zyudenchi?
Oh, Dino's Grander.
Oh yeah, it's a Dinosuchus.
Dinosuchus. Okay. Yeah, they're in a hole and there's a rock falling into because the rock is like the perfect shape of the hole, so it's just sliding down.
What else would it be?
And they're like trying to hold it up, and he drills through it. I believe.
Yeah, after finally getting it under control. Episode 17 and 18. Kyoryu Gray appears. This is our first Gray Ranger.
Our first Gray Ranger, and it's a returning Sentai actor.
Yes, Vulcan Silver.
Or as I like to call him until the end of the series, Baldkin Silver.
Yes. This is also... Okay, so I'll go back to this. The Spirit Rangers have their own mechs attached to them.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Ankydon and Bunpaki.
And this is also the episode in episode 17 and 18 where we find out about Daigo's weakness.
He's too powerful.
He's too perfect. He's too strong. This is the problem. The writers forget to actually go anywhere with this, so we end up with the end of the series.
I love how they even brought it up. It's like, we kind of made him too good, and they tried to play it off as that means he has no room to grow.
Yeah.
They failed.
We'll talk about that when we get to his character.
Yeah, I'm holding off on my thoughts until we get to there.
Of note,
this should be fun.
At the end of episode 18, Gray and Cyan, because Ramirez comes back, he's been gone for a little bit. Gray and Cyan talk about Plezuon coming back. Another Zyudenchi. And since that one's being taken care of more or less, they go and search for Bragagus, who's another.
Bragagus.
I like the fact that they actually built this up, though. Since they mentioned it here, it's like, we can go somewhere with this.
Yeah, they don't just bring it up out of nowhere.
Yeah. Episode 20, Daigo's father comes back. Actually, episode 20 through 24.
Before we continue, can I just throw props to the design of the Spirit Rangers and how their sash is a different color?
To show that they're dead?
To show that they're dead.
I think it's Toku trivia.
Well, but we noticed that during...
I never noticed that.
I noticed that when we were watching the show, that their sash was a slightly different shade to show that they are dead, and it's gone when their powers are passed on to their living descendants.
Yes.
Or just...
It's not gone. It's changed to the rest of them when they pass it on. Episode 20 through 25, this really ends up starting... There's an arc here. Episode 20, Daigo's father comes back, and apparently he actually already knows Taurine.
And if you thought King was too perfect and too powerful...
But he gives Taurine a rucksack.
He gets it from his dad.
God.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a better character in Geeb. Or G.
Moving on, this is an Ultraman.
I just want to go watch that show now.
It's true. But he gives Taurine a rucksack with something inside of it that is actually fairly useful for the rest of this. Episode 21 through 24. Kyoryu Violet, the first one, comes back. Dr. Ushade, who is also the voice of the Gabri changers because he made them.
And he does the opening narration for this for the show.
Yeah, he actually breaks the fourth wall a couple of times for a couple of times you see him on the show.
I like how they brought him in as a character. And
he and Plezuon. He's Violet, by the way. I love Violet Ranger, and I'm so happy we got another one after this.
And the suit in this one is actually pretty well. I love the suit.
It's pretty good, yeah.
I do like this suit. I like the fact that they're using purple or violet as an actual color.
They use a lot of fucking colors in this show.
Oh yeah, because they have nowhere else.
They have so many Rangers.
Except for yellow and orange. We'll get there.
Well, there's one of the Zyudenshi is orange.
Yeah, I'm just talking about as a suit.
Actual suit, sure.
Yeah.
No, that's later.
Yeah.
This is the introduction of Kyoryu Violet, Yayoi, his granddaughter, and Plezuon.
And broken backs.
Yes, he is very old.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in space to find out how the Debos previously destroyed a planet.
Space.
Pretty much.
Dinosaurs in space.
All right. Of note, here, this is a pretty damn important episode because the dark species Deboth is brought back to life as like an imperfect version.
Mm-hmm.
He's imperfect cell. The Plezuo lab is found, then attacked later by the Deboths to try and stop his research and to figure out, hey, how did they destroy this planet and then originally get off of it? They are stopped as Chaos takes Lucky Ura. We haven't really talked about him. He is the reason that the things keep growing.
He's the scarecrow.
Yeah, he's a scarecrow.
He's annoying as fuck.
She.
That's how I feel about all the villains in this show.
I remember when, what's her name? Candelabra was first, had her first turn as the week, giving us the monster of the week. And
the
how
singing thing.
I don't remember which one it was. It was a sweet shop, I think.
It was the cake.
It was the cake.
Yeah.
And Marcus brought this up when we were watching the episode of. She's doing good things for bad reasons. She's smiles. So what does that mean, morally speaking, when the Kyoryugers have to stop it? Because if they keep doing it, bad things will happen.
People will get cavities.
It will, and Debos will rise, and blah, blah, blah. It's just that weird, great... we put holes in the teeth. You don't know that?
No.
I know that, but I'm just like... That's such a reference. Okay.
It's a very old reference.
To what?
It's a God. What was that name of that show?
I can't remember. All I know is
that stupid song.
Yeah.
It's like a '70s show. Anyway.
Okay.
But where I was going with this is that weird moral gray area that was never explored.
It was really only her that was around.
Because she was the only one giving people smiles. Everyone else was just. Making them cry or making them mad or whatnot.
Yeah, but I think that also is what sets up her, I'm going to put this in big quotes, arc near the end of the show and her change.
Her turn at the end.
Yeah. Because she just likes bringing people smiles.
But yeah, Chaos ended up stopping them from destroying the lab. He says the only way to really bring Debos back is if we end up having some more joy and some more anger, and they end up having to use that. That's how we get the dark species Deboth at the end of it. Mm-hmm. This is also the first... appearance of... Well, let's actually talk about Plezuon as a mech. I like this mech.
I do not mind this mech.
I like it because it's a rocket.
It's a spaceship and a giant cannon for an arm.
Yes. I just like it because the mech itself, I think, is the most... I'm not going to say symmetrical, but
it's really not.
It looks the best to me out of all of the mechs that we've gotten so far.
So far, okay, yeah, I can maybe understand that.
I like this one.
I really do like this one because with the dinosaur that this is based on, there's only been so many directions you can go with that.
Yeah, obvious undersea something.
Yeah,
a submarine or a rocket ship in this case.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm even also just design in terms of if it's going to become its own mech, which it did not have to do. That's another thing I love about the show. There is no carrier mech. That's just that. There is no such thing as a carrier mech in this show.
I'm trying to think if the one later does do that.
Bright Gigas, no.
Does once.
Bright Gigas does not. It's not big enough.
But anyway, Ushad is just like, all right, I'm old. Somebody else needs to take over this.
No, it's essentially, it's accurate.
I know.
I am too old. He literally says, I'm too old for this shit. Your turn.
But he gives the the power of Kyoryuger Violet over to his granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our first female purple.
Yes.
Who I believe was the youngest ranger.
I think she was the youngest actress.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
At the time.
Thanks, Kyoryuger. Tokucast.
Yes.
Also in episode 24, Ushada, like I said, Ushada retires. Yayoi is made the new Kyoryuger Violet, but Aigeron also explodes in this episode. But he is brought back with a slight amount of darkness inside of him. Apparently, his soul is actually trapped within the armor. So he died, yeah, but it's just like his armor was so strong that it kept his soul trapped inside.
It's like a Horcrux.
Yeah, so he ends up becoming a little bit off throughout the rest of this show. Episode 25 is the first appearance of our flying monkey, Indolf.
Who he had one of the best entrances for a new villain, I think, ever. He literally just walked in, wrecked shit, and went, I have a headache, and left.
I'm sitting here like, as you do.
What was his emotion? Because he gets a different one, I think.
He does.
It's like despair.
Resentment.
Yeah.
I like his design. I like
Resentful Knight Indolf, yes.
I do like his design a lot.
The candle aspect and the fact that his weapon is both a gun and a sword.
I like it. I like that it's a blunderbuss.
Oh yeah,
or a flintlock pistol.
Yeah, and then remember when they tried to hide behind the pillar and he just shot through the pillar instead?
Yeah, he's like, I don't do that here. Episode 27. Oh, here's a problem. This is the first appearance. Okay, so King is taken over by Gabutyra for some
they
reason.
were experimenting with his battleizer because let's be real, that's what it is. And Gabutyra, he turned into a dinosaur. In the head.
A dinosaur possesses him.
This is also when we get the full black...
I feel so bad for his suit actor. Had to walk around like
That's
this.
probably just the cramp.
Yeah, but the silver mouthpiece on his visor disappears because it just becomes the mouth.
I like this.
Yes, because now when he roars, the whole helmet goes wrong.
I didn't mind that effect. That was pretty cool.
I like this more than having that silver mouthpiece in the middle of it.
At least there are no lips.
I mean, that was never a problem.
Exactly.
But I do like the fact that it's just all black. For some reason, it looks better to me. Because it's more...
I like the mouthpiece because then it looks more like a helmet.
I mean, either way, really. Otherwise, I mean, I can see if you have the whole black thing, you're just looking into the void, but... Kyoryuger Carnival.
Yeah, so this form exists.
Man, I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I don't like how it looks. I don't like what it represents. I don't like it.
Jacob?
We'll talk about that more when we get to characters.
It represents that the Red Ranger is the only powerful one and that
he's the only thing in this show that matters.
Yep, and we'll get to that.
That's why
I don't mind the concept of a powered up form that gives you essentially the abilities of the mechs.
Yeah, that's okay.
I thought that was actually pretty cool.
That on paper sounds great.
Have we seen that yet? I mean, since?
No. Before or since? Not really.
I didn't think so.
Kyoryuger was pretty much the only one to try that as a concept. And I think that's a really cool idea. And the fact that he transforms it with it using his mech. It's just, he miniaturizes it and becomes a blaster. But design-wise, fuck. That is a clusterfuck.
It's a mess.
It is a hot mess.
It's a mess.
The face on
and
the
I don't
chest.
mind it being Carnival, like in terms of an aesthetic, because we're already doing Samba.
I think the name is fine. Yeah.
And the dancing aspect, since it's just an evolution of what we have. But God, but Jesus, and the fact that I don't mind that he gets the actual mechs when he like miniature versions of the mech arms when he uses them.
The new design on the actual suit is not good, and the chest piece just looks so silly.
It looks like
I think the thing that legitimately just makes it the worst for me is the chest piece. Like the rest of it, I'm fine with, oddly enough. But
because the rest of it,
it looks like a Halloween costume.
The rest of it, other than the chest piece, kind of reminds me of like Ava Ranger or Jungle.
Yeah, with Ava Ray Max
or Jungle Master mode with the white.
Yeah, but that one was good.
No, I'm not saying. But that chest piece is what kills it.
Yeah, the chest piece really just destroys it. Episode 28.
It's staring into my soul.
Yeah, it really is. You know what little is left of it after watching the show again.
I thought you were going with a ginger joke. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, no, that was too easy. Episode 28 29. Torian is brainwashed by the Devil's army. Dansetsu comes back. Dansetsu was King's father. We didn't mention that earlier. And Indolf is pretty much beaten.
Is this when Green learns the sword technique?
No.
Okay.
Indolf is imprisoned.
Sorry, I really like that technique.
That happens much later in the show.
I know.
Indolf is imprisoned by Dogold's armor.
Oh, yeah.
I remember watching this, and I was sitting here like, oh, okay. So that's what we're doing. But Indolf is much more powerful than the ones that he was originally taking over. So Dogold doesn't have to switch.
So it doesn't really matter.
But it's okay. We'll find out about him later.
So hard.
Nope. Episode 30. After they get rid of Torian's brainwashing, Bragigus will be revived by the 13 Guardian fragments of the other Denryu that were fossilized in the original battle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Densetsu gave to Torian. He gave Torian one of them when he came back much earlier.
In the rock sack.
Episode 35, 34 to 36, Bragigus is revived because there's filler episodes that happen between episode 30 and 34. It's just like, why?
Why not?
Hate filler.
Bragigus
is revived. Almost. He's the base that they've been in.
I love how it's just they're trying to accomplish the same goal.
Yeah. Let's talk about Bragigus.
I love Bragigus.
It's my favorite mech in the show.
It is a very, very good. Yeah.
And it's really nice to see a Brachiosaurus Zord that's not just the carrier.
First time it happened.
First time it did happen. This is... Now, we don't see the ranger that he's associated with for another 2 episodes. But at the end of the ep that he is shown in, he's in prison. And then the next episode, he is freed and Gigant Kyoryuger is shown. I do not like this mech.
The one with...
all of them.
It's a hot mess.
It is.
It's a hot mess.
It is a dumpster
It's
fire.
one of those big ones that you're just like...
It's not the worst looking mech we've ever gotten.
No, that happened earlier.
Yeah, Shinkenger and Gohanger.
Yeah.
But it's not great.
It's not good at all.
I like some of the concepts with it, like making the Velociraptor a spearhead on Bragigus' neck. Yeah, his neck. And making Petasagon a shoulder-mounted blaster. But that head and that chest plate.
The whole thing, it's just a mess.
It's too heavy to move. It's another one of the... It's Go Buster.
Yeah.
It glides.
Go Buster
It just rolls across.
Mm-hmm.
It does not move.
It's,
it feels like
Go
there
Buster
wasn't...
O at this point.
It feels like there wasn't any thought actually put into what goes where.
Oh, no, there's plenty of thought.
I disagree.
No, listen, because it's a joke I'm saying. There's plenty of thought, because they had to arrange all of those bullshit logos on the chest in a specific order. There was plenty of thought. It was just all in the wrong moments.
Well, like you were bringing up, there's some nice ideas there, but in terms of how do we make our ultimate combination mech, let's just slap everything onto the big one. Just like that.
Well, it's not even slap everything onto the big one. We get the neck.
Slap it a bit.
We get 4 pieces from Bragigus.
Slap it a bit.
And the 5 main Zords. That's literally it.
It is. It's a mess. I don't like it. Episode 36, though. This is the episode that Torian first transforms into Kyoryu Silver.
With rock and roll.
I like this.
I like this suit.
Where he does that instead.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the actual suit.
No, the suit looks great.
The suit's great.
I love all of...
shiny as fuck.
This is another one of those times where we have both gold and silver on the same team again.
But we also have silver and gray, which is interesting.
Yeah. I quite like this.
What isn't shiny?
I mean, this team altogether has a lot of color variants along it.
Yes, what they're like.
Especially when you introduce Deathryuger into the mix.
Yeah, because you have navy, cyan, blue, and purple. Mm-hmm. So I'm just sitting here like, okay, all right, got it. All right. This is also the time that we find out that Chaos is Torian's brother, and Torian was actually the original herald of Davos. When they came down, when the dinosaurs originally came down.
Torian used to be a bad guy. We're not stealing this from Dire Ranger at all.
But Torian was just like, oh, this world has a lot of potential to become stronger. So I don't want to destroy this world. So he basically just diverted, with the help of the Zyuden, he diverted Davos away from Earth. And they both went off to destroy the planets. All right. Episode 38, we see the descendant of Kyoryuger, Shinya Tsukochi.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically hair.
I hated this arc.
I mean, it was only an episode.
Everything involving him I hated. And then because also then it's revealed that the original Kyoryuger is wearing a bald cap for some reason.
Yeah. He's supposed to be a monk.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been calling him Bald Ken Silver for like 30 episodes. I just felt betrayed.
Episode 39. This is actually something that we get from the movie because episode 39 shows Toba Spino along with Spino Dio.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about this mech. This is the last one we get in the show.
I don't mind this.
It's
okay.
just it was nice to see a Spinosaurus.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a blue clone of Gabriel.
I just like the Spinosaurus.
Oh no, Spinosaurus is great.
I like dinosaurs.
Jurassic Park 3.
I just like the color navy.
I'm a motherfucking T-Rex.
Not anymore. Now your neck is broken.
Yeah, I
Can't
like
do that to the motherfucking T-Rex. Call this number to donate to the motherfucking T-Rex.
Toba Spino though. I wish they showed him more in show, but this is
I
very.
agree.
It's nice to actually see the movie mech in show at all.
So this is
That's a very good point. That is a very good point because you never ever see anything from the movies ever pay off in the show.
well.
Shut up!
I'm gonna say
You
well. In
very,
this
very rarely see it.
Especially in the
say,
mechs.
Rarely, yeah, but I'm just like they did it in Naba Ranger. When they
How
took
many
over
seasons ago was that?
another dinosaur one.
Exactly, but how many seasons ago?
Enough that they did it again.
Moving on.
Yeah. Toba Spino. Episode 41 basically starts off the end game with some other filler in here. Episode 41 and 42 are the Christmas episodes.
Yay.
With the Christmas monsters.
With the Daybos World War, where they had to go all around the world because various incarnations of Daybos are showing up.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to take all the mechs and split them up around the world. I really like this.
They have to team up.
It was nice
armies
to-
of the bad dudes.
It was nice to see them also go, let's not just attack this one city again.
Yeah, let's also attack New York and London and Rio de Janeiro.
Let's go attack these stock photographs.
Look at this photograph.
Let's not. Episode 43. This one shows Soji's mother. We have another Dynaman actress. Well, the only really Dynaman actress in here, who is Dyna Pink. So we have two of the Dynamen.
Not that one.
Nope. We have two of the Dynamen in this show as Soji's parents, Dyna Black and Dyna Pink.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to see them.
I like to think this is a sequel to that show, where eventually they got married and gave birth to a future Sentai.
The amount of returning Sentai actors in the show is actually quite hilarious.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
It's just unexpectedly.
I always like it when actors come back.
This is also the first and only time that we get to see Torian's human form, who is his voice actor.
Yes, it was. I really like that.
Yeah.
I like that it's played by the voice actor. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Episode 44. Daybos is fully restored.
Done.
Yay!
Daybos.
This is also starting the 50-hour countdown to him destroying the world. Episode 45.
Because nothing says raise the stakes like a fake time limit.
Pretty much. I mean,
The planet will be destroyed in 5 minutes. 30 minutes
it's
later.
like there's no real payoff here, and there isn't really a lot of tension because you already know how this is going to end.
Yeah.
It sort of feels like the opposite of the one in Die Ranger, where they were just like they had no choice; they had to come to a stalemate.
Well, the tension doesn't really come from will they save the world. It's how will they save the world. That's how that's how I look at situations like this.
But for this particular show, it's not how they save the world because we already know how King is going to be king.
You
raise a fair point.
Yeah.
I'm speaking more of in terms of
In
broader
general.
storytelling.
Like when you see this in Die Ranger, it's such a different one because it's just like, look, if you don't do it, I'm killing everybody and starting over.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's just like I'm just going to kill everybody and then
How
move on to the
Thanos
next
of
one.
you.
Well, Thanos times 2 of it. But yeah, episode 45.
No, he said, you know what, I'm just going to start the fuck over.
Episode 45. Torian dies.
We're not stealing this from Die Ranger at all. Didn't I say that ago? Yes, I did.
Dan Setsu takes over as Kyoryuger Silver.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, yeah, that is the most logical choice.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone else is dancing and he's just tapping his foot?
He's like, I have no time.
I'm too old.
I'm too cool for the youngin' music.
Now, as you said earlier, Candelaria does sort of have her own
Arc
going on, but she
changing like a second thought about what she's told that she has to do.
Yeah, because Candelaria and Lucky Hero run away.
Mm-hmm.
And they, along with Aigeron, are replaced because Aigeron has just been going insane more and more. And black ink starts coming out of him more along the show.
Oh, yeah, that makes him go batshit crazy.
Yeah, that makes him go berserk. And Aigeron is going to be replaced. Well, Candelaria and Aigeron are going to be replaced by new knights. Ice Rondo and Killabaro. Aigeron actually has to be replaced when he overhears the two knights in Chaos talking about killing Candelaria. I feel like I missed something. I did. Episode 42, let's go back a second. Endolf actually comes back.
Yep.
He breaks out of Dogold. He was like, this is my plan the entire time. And starts controlling him. Breaks out of Dogold, starts controlling him. I actually had that note here. I don't know how I skipped over it.
Because you're still you.
It's true. But yeah, Aigeron ends up running away. He tries to go and protect Candelaria and Lucky Hero, and he ends up pleading to the Kyoryugers like, they never killed anybody. Help them. And then...
which, again, was a valid point.
Yeah.
They never hurt anybody.
Aigeron ends up sacrificing himself to save them, and Ice Rondo basically just straight up mortally injures him. But Ian is the one to set Aigeron free by using the drill to literally drill through him, setting him free of his armor, and basically just, setting his soul free. Thereby giving Ian his closure of forgiving him for killing his friend.
Mm-hmm.
This causes Candelaria and Lucky Hero to give up being evil, and Ian ends up killing Ice Rondo with Aigeron's axe. Episode 47, final appearances of Endolf and Dogold. There's also some pretty great shots of the Rangers fighting by themselves throughout the city.
Is this the one where they each have to, it's that thing of they run into a group of enemies, one stays behind to fight them? Those were some pretty damn great attitude fights, which we got. I feel like we got a lot of nice attitude fights in this show.
There's some good ones. The one in the woods was great.
Yeah, because that's actually happens here, because it's Uchi that ends up fighting Dogold and Endolf. Uchi ends up damaging the thing that Endolf was using to control Dogold. Dogold ends up injuring him, so Dogold goes back onto Uchi. They kill Endolf, and then Uchi and Dogold finally stand off against each other and kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how that happens. Meanwhile, in the spirit world, or rather the underworld, where have you, Chaos realizes that Taurine, Gray, and Cyan are down there trying to stop the big Daybulls from really getting all of his power. This is also when Cyan and Gray pass on their powers to Jasmine.
And Cyan passes on.
That's not her real name, but we're just going to call her Jasmine.
Yeah, Ulsan's sister.
Blue's sister. And Gray gives his powers to his descendant.
Yes.
And we see them...
with Violet and Silver fighting off.
Also, I never brought this up. I love Violet's fighting style. That's different from everybody else.
Oh, the Bayonetta?
The bayonet fighting, where she just does, and I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I like the fact that she does end up having a different fighting style than the rest of them. And there's also a couple of times, because there's two Zyuden I didn't even bother to mention, but it's the Max and the B one that they use for the finisher.
Yeah. Because it's dumb.
Episode 48.
Are we going to talk about the blatant SPD, or the blatant Deca Ranger reference when she's fighting?
She
says, "This is an emergency."
Yeah.
Yeah. I see her like, yes, this is all I ever wanted, because she is the best. The only thing that could have made this show better, of course, would be Nao Nagasawa showing up.
Or that, or just a random narrator says, "Josephine Wise," but the other, like, no, wrong show. And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Or the guy from Kyoryuger doing it in his.
Oh God,
that'd be great. That would
We killed Marcus a little bit.
That's what he sounds like.
Episode 48. This is the final episode. Daigo and Amy go to the ship.
Yeah, they
What happens next, Marcus? What happens next?
He was like, "I'm gonna save Amy." Speaking of which, let's talk about this other thing, because
this other elephant in the room.
Oh God! You know what? I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait because it doesn't really matter as much here. Daigo throws Amy out of the ship in a bid to save her.
Somehow doesn't kill her in the process.
No, of course not. I shall save you, push.
Maybe
I should have thought that through. I'm sorry.
By the way, they're on their way up to space.
Yeah.
Again, how does she survive this?
I can't. Oh God!
By the power,
with the power of music.
With the power of music.
Oh, yeah. So Daigo ends up beating Daybos by himself with the power of music from the other Kyoryuger singing.
Who are singing the opening.
The theme song.
And it's just silly.
No, because you know that doesn't actually happen. You know that doesn't happen.
No.
You know what they do?
What?
Whoa, whoa. That's all they do.
And that's all they do. Because they don't know the words. You don't know the words to your own song. Shame on you.
Yeah.
So they just go, whoa, 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 and it's silly.
Yeah, but Candelaria
silly.
actually goes down to the underworld with Lucky Euro to help Tori and the others fight against Chaos. They destroy him with her
I also
help.
love her weapons. Wasn't her weapon a giant axe too?
Yes.
There's a lot of axes in this show.
Sorry with that. They defeat Chaos. King beats Daybos by himself, and Daybos actually mentions that he was created by Devious, who we will see in Tokucast vs. Kyoryuger, so we can't talk about that.
Who we will see not in this show.
But Candelaria at the end of this...
Sir not appearing in this show.
Yes, Candelaria joins the Kyoryugers at the end of it,
As
setting
their
up
new mentor.
setting up 100 years after.
Yeah.
That's the show.
And King reveals that he's been in love with Amy this whole time.
No, that actually doesn't happen either.
I thought that's why he pushed her
Yeah,
out.
like right before he pushes her out
No,
the
he
window.
does that to just save her.
I could have sworn he brought up the relationship.
Mm-mm. That never happened. He just pushed her out to save her.
You suck!
Show is now over.
Hooray!
Characters.
Go ahead and talk about King. I'll wait.
Okay, so I mentioned offhand when we did our tier list for Red Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to everyone who watched that, by the way. I mentioned
almost 3K of you.
I mentioned offhand that I said he wasn't a Mary Sue, Gary Stu, whatever you want to call it. And upon doing a little more digging and rewatching Overly Sarcastic Productions' Mary Sue episode, definitely check it out because I'm going to quote them here. He absolutely is one. Mm-hmm. He's totally a Mary Sue.
We weren't speaking
about Gary Stu, I think is the male term.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter. Same thing. He totally is one. And here's why. What makes them a Sue is they are the product of an overly centralized story. They don't have good supporting characters. They don't have good villains. Everything about the story comes back to them. He is absolutely a Mary Sue.
Even in the other stories where he's not the focus of the episode, the episode still comes back to him.
It's still everything about the show always finds a way to come back to him, and that doesn't mean you can't like him. If you like Daigo, then more power to you.
However, you also got to remember that Kujaku was the better character.
We love you. Anyway, if you like,
and by that means so is Tendo Soji.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
If you like King, no one gets to dictate your taste. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I personally can't stand this guy.
He is the worst part of this show. This is what I was talking about when you wanted to put him in C and I wanted to put him in D. Because I remember him for every single reason that is actually the wrong reason for him personally.
Yeah, like going back when I was revisiting this show and really seeing, just because I didn't remember too much about individual episodes, just broader terms. So when I was going back and revisiting this, seeing just how much everything seems to loop back to him constantly, and how, I like some of the supporting characters. They're okay, but they're nowhere near good enough to ever take any of the focus away from him.
And this is the problem.
It's a big problem.
This is the problem with this show. You end up having a character like this. This makes the show not fun to watch because it's like he's always going to win, and that's not interesting. As they said in the Kyoryuger introduction episodes, he doesn't have anywhere to go. And this is why I mentioned that because of the fact that they don't have anywhere for him to go, he's too perfect, they forget about this.
Yeah.
And don't try to actually extrapolate on him as a character. It's just he is the bad shonen protagonist of an archetype that makes this show...
Forget bad shonen protagonist. He's just a bad protagonist. Forget shonen. There are great shonen protagonists. There are bad ones, but he's just a bad protagonist, period. And you mentioned, I'm glad you brought this up, we always know he's going to win. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that because that encompasses most heroes. whenever I'm reading a Batman comic or watching a Batman movie, I'm never worried, oh my goodness, is Batman gonna win? Or, oh goodness, is James Bond gonna survive this? No, I know he's gonna win. But the tension, I mentioned this earlier, the tension comes from how is he gonna survive this? What's he gonna do? What cool thing am I gonna see him do? Or, how am I gonna see him get kicked around a bit beforehand? What am I gonna do to see him? What's he gonna do?
Yeah.
With King, that tension's never there. He's just gonna yell at somebody, talk about how great he is. The show is just going to confirm how great he is by not giving him much of a struggle. And it's not that he has to struggle. I mean, you look at somebody like Superman, he doesn't physically struggle against a lot of opponents. You know he's gonna win. But how is he going to win, and is he using his powers for the right reasons? Mm-hmm. And those questions never come up with King. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with him.
You know what was also coming out around the same time, because you watched it, Hunter x Hunter. And this is why I talk about when characters
Hunter x Hunter is a completely different...
No, I do this because they're both shonen.
They're both shonen, yes, but that's a completely different tone of a show.
But there's a difference here. Gon has a much different character development, but he's still a shonen protagonist, right?
No, absolutely.
Hold on.
Okay.
He's a much different shonen protagonist. But the thing is, with Gon,
because I know what he's going to say.
He loses quite a bit.
Because he's 10.
And...
He's 10.
He's also a shonen protagonist. And this is why I make this comparison.
That's the thing. Shonen protagonist does not mean the same for every protagonist. A shonen protagonist just means you are the protagonist of a... Honestly,
No, but I'm going to finish with a point, and that's where you're not letting me finish. Gon is different from basically every other protagonist like this in this, particular brand of media because of the fact that he lost a bit. At the end of the Chimera arc, he lost an arm and a leg. Literally. Or rather, just an arm. But most of his energy was gone. He died almost. The only reason that he's still here is because of Kahlua. But it's just like he has that whole arc of actually really having growth over this.
No, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But there are so many different types of shonen protagonists. It depends on the story that is being told. We are from episode 1 of Kyoryuger. It is made abundantly clear that this is not a show about a guy who's getting better with the power he has, that he's improving. Because he kicked the ass of a mech by himself. I know, but
it's like the first thing you see him do.
It sets the bar. With Kon, it is a 10-year-old who is just learning these abilities that he has, and you're watching him grow with these new abilities. It's the same for Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia. He has a brand new power that he cannot use completely, and he loses a lot too, which is why My Hero Academia is one of my favorite shonens. Because he loses all the fucking time.
And I get where you're coming from, Marcus, but I think it's a little bit of an apples to oranges comparison. Yes, they're both shonen protagonists.
But that's such a generic term.
I'm not getting into generic terms. My point is, just because a character loses or has or fails, that doesn't automatically make them better than others. I go back to my James Bond example. I know he's going to win at the end of every single movie. The question is how and what is he going to do?
Okay.
And so will Saitama be a more appropriate comparison?
I think Saitama would be a great comparison, actually.
Yes.
Saitama would be a wonderful comparison in this case because the comedy and the drama of One Punch Man comes from his inner struggle of like, I am too powerful. Everything that I fight, no matter how powerful it claims to be, I keep killing it with one punch. And that struggle that he has of
which is hilarious.
Us watching him suffer is where the most of the comedy in that show comes from.
I love his suffering.
No, it's absolutely fantastic.
But you will also One Punch Man. You have an interesting supporting cast. You have all these colorful characters and crazy villains, wacky art designs. There's so much things you can take away from One Punch Man,
which is why the monster-based invasion arc is just amazing because you get to see everybody else do things.
Yeah.
With this show, it's just like you see other people do things, but at the end of the day, who's going to be the one to beat the monster?
It's going to be Daigo. And going back to the One Punch Man comparison, yeah, he's always we know Saitama's going to win. He's always going to win, but we get that comedy from him suffering.
Plus,
we get the drama from everyone, acting like a dick around him and being all angry because he's a B-class hero and whatnot. And how dare you take all these C-class.
Oh,
he's B.
He is B.
Okay, he started off with C. I haven't seen season 2.
Oh, no, I just read the manga. Yeah.
Okay,
but then
it starts
anyway,
off insane.
You have that colorful supporting cast and colorful villains and crazy things, and then you get to Kyoryuger. It's a show that is designed to consistently affirm how amazing Daigo is. Not just the red, just Daigo in general. If it were a different character and it were the same thing, if Green were the one that the whole thing was centralized around, it would have been the same thing.
May I have my argument now? As a parent, first of all, I know you hate this show.
Oh, God.
What do you think of this show overall?
I think it is.
Well, we haven't gotten to the rest of the characters yet.
Yeah, I know. I just want to know because I want to know.
Here's the thing. I think it's. Jeez.
Would you like to? Would you like to think about it some more?
No, I think I have an answer. There are things about it that I like.
Fair enough.
Aesthetically, there are things I like. I think some of the action is pretty good. I really like the suits. I think the designs of the villains are unique and interesting enough. Mm-hmm. Not just the generals, but the actual
even the villains.
But the actual monsters and the Rastafarian zebra crocodiles. It's the first. I'm never gonna
remember that. But
it's fine. It's the first thing that came to my head. But.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
He's right.
Bringing that back.
I think on the most surface level possible, there is enjoyment to be had. But you try to go any deeper than that, I think the show is pretty poor.
Okay. My argument, first we'll start with Daigo.
I mean, that's who we're still on.
I know.
Did you want to get to the rest of the characters first?
Well, no, I'll just go with Daigo. As I said in our Red Ranger tier list, when you set the bar of him that high in terms of what his abilities are as a fighter, I already know that tells us this is not a show where we get to watch the main character struggle with his fights. Because he doesn't... I let you finish. The point of him was to be essentially, and I'm going back to My Hero Academia because you guys wanted to compare this to anime.
Go ahead.
He's All Might. He is the number one hero. He is perfect in every way. He cannot be beaten. But yet, he is extremely popular. I know the point of All Might is that he also loses his powers.
No, not even that. I have a different issue with that. Because you brought it up just then.
What?
What is this show?
I'm getting to that. It is a Sentai.
Yeah.
I'm getting to that. But what All Might does as a character is as the pillar of hope. He inspires people to be better, to reach that goal. And that is what he does with his team. When they start at the bottom of we don't know each other, we don't want to know each other, we don't give a shit. And he inspired them to be better, to be teammates, to be friends, to be heroes. That is what he did as a Red Ranger. Now, I know that is not what everybody gets from this show. That is what I personally took from him as a character. Do I think he's a Mary Sue? Abso-fucking-lutely. Does it annoy the hell out of me how powerful he is, and then he never really has to suffer or lose or try? Absolutely it does. But I think because of what he did to the rest of his team and how much they grew as people throughout the show, especially Ian, who hated everybody, and yes, was a ladies' man, but became not only one of Daigo's closest friends, became essentially the leader in the field. He was the tactical leader.
I mean, yeah,
of the show. Leader. But I think that was his purpose as a character, not to be what we're used to.
This is the problem with, and it starts here, because Kyoryuger starts what happens over the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. The Red Ranger should not be the end-all be-all.
No, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm not.
The problem with him as a character in a show about a team, and we've said this before, Daigo is the main writer. Everybody else are extras. They don't get shit. And it should not be that way in a team-based show. Yeah. Daigo hurts this as a Sentai because this is a writer show disguised as a Sentai.
And why I still enjoy the show because to a degree, I agree with you. But why I enjoy this show as much as I do, I'll get into our overall thoughts. Right now, I'm just talking about Daigo. And that is what I saw in him as a leader. Now, again, this is why I never argued for him above C tier in our list. Because he's cocky, he's fucking OP, and he's a Mary Sue. I understand all of that. But I still think because of his presence, he inspired people around him to be better.
We'll talk about that point when we get to the overall.
Okay.
Ulsan, Blue.
He was the best one.
He's honestly one of my favorites.
He was one of the best ones on the team, honestly.
There's a reason I picked him for my first round of Toku Fantasy League.
Because I like him a lot. You adored him.
Not really.
Really? You used to love all those puns when we were in college.
I just like because puns. But
you also like his fighting style.
No, I didn't. I did not like wrestling.
I like the fighting style.
Well, no, you freaked out. No,
I freaked out because he did a move.
It was that one particular illegal move where he pile drives the guy's head into the dirt.
Yeah, I don't like wrestling as a fighting style.
I think it's
boring.
I think it has its place.
I love it because it's just the idea of you just like overpowering your opponent and just like tossing him around like a rag doll and slamming him into the ground. I just think it's awesome.
I'm not a big fan of grappling. If I want to see that, I'll watch Grappler Baki or something. But Ulsan...
Didn't they get remade recently?
Yes, it did.
I thought so.
But Ulsan is the old man. And I like that about him.
He wants to prove that he can keep up with the youngins and all that.
Well, he wants to prove that he can keep everybody safe.
I mean, they call him old man, but he's like 30. That's not old.
I thought he was 40.
Even that's not old.
But compared to one of them who's in high school.
He's in his 30s, yeah.
Okay. One of them's in high school, so to them...
this is just something...
To him, we're old.
This is just something about Japan that annoys me. where a character... Because they do this in the Yakuza games, too, where Kazuma is like 40, and they all call him old man. It's like, he's 40. That's not old. What's wrong with you, dopes?
But his whole thing was, keeping his family safe. That's why he didn't want to open up at the beginning. Because his whole thing was just keeping up with his families. Now, he's not actually the second, he's not the second in command. That would actually go to the next character, Ian.
I've never been a fan of this whole womanizer character
Oh, no,
trope,
me either. I hate this.
But I feel like he outgrew that rather quickly. And that really was no longer a major character plot for him.
And, of course, there's the obvious comparison that you can make to Guy.
Jetman?
Yes. But, I just think Guy...
But once he was given his backstory and his arc with Aigeron, I thought he became a pretty well-developed character.
Really?
He became more than two-dimensional.
Yeah. With where he started versus where he ended.
I don't see it, but fair enough.
I'm just comparing... there are so many Sentais that would have kept him as that.
That's true.
Yeah, you're right, but...
God, that's true.
I just didn't really care for him that much as a character.
That's fair.
Either when the show started or when it ended. He was just kind of annoying.
That's fair.
I thought he was...
I can't wait for the in comparison on this.
He wasn't awful, but he's certainly not...
I know, I'm just saying.
He's certainly not the worst ranger in this show.
No.
We already passed him.
Exactly.
Moving on.
Soji, Green.
He was okay.
I like Soji.
He was okay.
He didn't really get a lot to do.
He did not.
That's the entire supporting cast.
He got the least amount of development out of the main Rangers, I think.
Yeah, he really did.
I like you brought this up earlier. Really like the sword style. Love that he's a Velociraptor. Because raptors are cool.
Raptors are cool. Love the sword style. I love the whole thing that Torian left him with that one sword technique, and that was his main
thing for the very at the end of the show.
Yeah. And it was nice to see Torian pass that on. And I even think he used Torian's sword for it at one point.
Yeah, he did.
Which was nice to see.
He actually got the sword.
Yeah. So I think that was really cool.
Another thing I want to bring up about Green, I like the chemistry you have with his parents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those three actors gelled well together, and seeing those two come back.
Can't wait to do the in comparison because...
I can't wait to watch Dynamite.
Is that
Chinatown?
Not that one.
I think it actually might be. I'm going to check after.
Anyway.
We have to watch Chicago 5 first, though.
Oh, we do!
Because that one is subbed.
Computer Boys and Girls. All right.
God, I can't wait to watch it. I know you're not a fan of Old Sentai, but you know you're just going to love it because of its insanity.
Well, no, we've seen episodes of it, and I was enjoying the fuck out of it.
We're like, this is amazing.
I was screaming. I was just being Alvin at one point, going,
God, it's gonna be a fun show to watch.
Anyway, we have to watch that together and like somehow stream it.
Oh yeah, like the first couple episodes.
Yes,
just be like, this is amazing. All right. Amy. I have a problem with this girl. The girl.
She's the girl.
Go for it.
The woman who happens to be there. Whose role is the woman who happens
to be there. Where the fuck did the relationship come from?
I don't know.
It didn't, Barbara. Okay, the only reason that it happens is because of the fact that Yayoi is like, I like him. And then Yayoi says to her, is like, wait, do you like him too? And Amy's like, I don't know. Let me think about it.
Because
once every 40 episodes.
Because shonen.
Forget because shonen, because bad writing.
No, that was... Sometimes those things share each other. Anyway, but no.
I'm not saying they don't.
Shonen
I'm saying this is more of a
time.
problem with the writing at large than it has to do with it being
I
shonen.
absolutely agree. This whole romance subplot was subpar.
I am attracted to this person. Are you attracted to this person? Yars.
Well, hold on. I don't know. Am I attracted to this person? Let's think about this again in 20 episodes.
There's a word, I think, for this.
Bullshit.
You know what's,
I meant a medical term.
You know what the show is really missing?
What?
They should have played the song Greenbird from Cowboy Bebop when he pushed her out of the spaceship.
Cut this out. Right? He was right. I rewatched the scene. He just said, he's like, are we escaping? And he goes, you are. Bye. And pushed her the fuck out.
And then it cuts to slow motion.
But before that, he hugs her really tight and says, we really are two of a kind, aren't we? And I can see the fangirls like, ah. So it all depends on your interpretation. But just saying, he was right. Cutting this back in. Amy, there's a medical term, I think, for Amy's feelings for King.
What is that?
Nightingale syndrome.
I was thinking Stockholm.
Okay, so the difference, you know, we're gonna pause that.
Keep going, I don't want to slow you down.
The difference between
or
the two,
you for that matter.
The difference between the two, Stockholm is when you grow a romantic attachment to your kidnapper.
Yes.
Stockholm syndrome is typically when
Stockholm syndrome again?
Nightingale syndrome is when a patient or somebody who was rescued gets romantic feelings for their rescue, whether it be a doctor, a fireman.
Right.
And so whether or not this is real, because I'm getting this from an episode of Royal Pains, but
fair enough.
It sounds, but
pull your resources where you can.
It makes sense.
It's
doesn't
fine.
It? Which is why when this happens in the first episode of Royal Pains, because he saves this girl from a disease, and she's like, "I'm in love with you," and he goes, "What's your prescription is don't see me for 2 months. Literally, do not see me for 2 months. And if you still have these feelings, we'll talk."
I'm in love with you. Your insurance doesn't cover that.
Oh goodness!
But that's the thing. She sees this guy essentially save her life, do all these amazing things, and then spends pretty much every day for the next almost year with him.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't bring it up again.
But my point is...
Yeah, I get your point, but I'm just like...
My point is, and if she had left the team for 2 months and just kind of... and went, wait a minute, this may not have been a thing. But that is what I equate this to.
That's actually a very good point, because if he saves you and then you spend almost a year with him just seeing him win at everything and just be awesome all the time and save you again multiple times and save your team multiple times and...
Nightingale syndrome.
We actually have more characters to talk about.
We do.
Essentially, he became, in her eyes, Prince Charming.
This is probably going to be the longest one. I don't care.
This is one of the few ones where we actually have very opposing opinions.
Yeah, we really do.
I like it.
So,
Let's keep it
who's
going.
next?
Uchi.
I love Uchi.
He is the best. He's a cinnamon roll.
He's annoying as fuck a lot.
He's precious. He's the sweetest thing.
He is annoying as fuck a lot with this whole fish out of water.
I don't think it's annoying. I think it's really endearing because the actor really...
The actor sold it well, yeah.
Oh god, the actor gave 112%.
Which is nice.
And I just love how excited he gets about new things. It's kind of adorable.
I was like,
I thought he was okay.
I thought it was so precious.
It was nice. We don't get that a lot with Sixth Rangers, where there's like so, I don't want to say the word naive, but it's almost that.
Yeah. Versus somebody like Lupin X. It's just like he is such a different character.
Yeah.
God, who is... Ramirez.
I
We don't really get a lot from him.
We don't really get a lot from either of the Spirit Rangers, but I like Ramirez for what we get.
I actually feel like we get a lot more from Gray.
True. But Ramirez seems very wise.
He's all right.
Yeah. He's also a fish out of water, but he doesn't...
All right.
He's not around He's not around enough to really go with it.
Yeah, he's a very minor character.
Yeah.
So why don't we go to Gray next?
Yeah, I like Ramirez, don't get me wrong.
Oh, no, Ramirez...
It's just like, he doesn't really do as much as, say, Gray. Gray's really around more than at least to me, it seemed like he was around more.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he had the whole training arc with the team at the beginning. He's very serious. He takes things very seriously.
But wears a bald cap.
We'll talk about that.
And has the tattoo of Bunpaki on his forehead.
That does nothing with the actual character. He is very...
I'm just saying he's serious, but he's weird.
He is weird. But he's very serious in the way that he actually approaches things.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is the team. You guys suck. We're going to train. King, you fucking suck because you have nowhere to go. Everybody else, good job. But it's just like...
And then King's like, fuck you, I'll give 120%.
And then he doesn't and still wins.
Yeah.
But it's weird with Gray because it's just like, I like seeing him...
I can't wait to read the comments on this for Daigo.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's weird with Gray because it's good seeing somebody like that with a team like
Oh,
this.
no, absolutely.
It makes it just that much more interesting.
It's hilarious because you're saying so many good things about the show that you hate.
Oh, no. Because most of my hate is wrapped up in the first character and went over.
Fair enough.
And which is valid for this show. Who would be next? Violet.
Which one?
We're not going to really talk about Dr. Yoshide. He's there. He's funny. Moving on. He's old. Yayoi.
Once again, I feel like would have had...
exists.
I'm just going to copy my whole Nightingale Syndrome argument and paste it here, and just going to be quiet.
That is actually very true here because she does get saved by him in the very first couple episodes that she's there before she turns into Violet. And then she's like, I like
And that
him.
just kind of became her whole character.
And then it became Amy's character.
And Amy fought better.
Anyway. Fucking trash. Torian. Because he's a ranger.
Torian's the best.
I do like Torian.
Might be my favorite character in the show.
Wouldn't blame you.
Was he on our top mentor list?
Yeah, he was there.
He was there.
Good. Okay. I can never remember.
I'm pretty sure he was
He
there.
was a ranger and a mentor.
He was so cool.
He was
I don't want to say he ever got angry with them.
Yeah.
But he definitely...
He was stern when he needed to be.
He was stern when he needed to be, but he was very wise.
I really like his design.
You know who he reminds
Also,
me
his
of?
design was great.
Master Shafu from Geki Ranger.
Yes.
Yes, he's very reminiscent of him. And I like the fact that they did that here. It's just like...
Except his hands weren't as weird. Master Shafu's.
Yeah.
Because that's really all he needs.
I do like Torian, though. Torian is pretty damn great. He was great as Silver, and he died. And then Dan Setsu... I was like, what was that ding? Oh.
It wasn't me.
Oh.
Actually, hold on. It was me.
Dan Setsu.
He exists.
He exists.
Who?
He's super strong, like his son. And then he took over as Silver, but it's like there isn't really a lot to his character.
Take all of King and take King and take out all of the, for lack of a better word, personality.
Yeah. Dan Setsu wasn't that interesting, really enough. And we're not really going to talk about the other two. I mean, we have the second Cyan and the second Gray.
Yeah,
she had more because she has a daughter, and that was her whole.
And she was, in the show for more than
3
6 episodes at most.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about?
The sister.
All right.
I
got you.
Yeah, I did like her. She doesn't really get a lot to do, but that's because she's not around as much as the others. No fault of hers.
But when she is, I don't go, oh fuck, she's here.
Yeah. The second Silver, it was like he was a coward and then he wasn't.
You mean Gray?
That too. He was a coward and then he wasn't, and that was basically.
You were calling Daigo's dad a coward for a second. That was
no. It's just like I mixed up the colors because they're so close together.
Fair enough. That's pretty much it for.
Yeah, that's all of them. I mean, I didn't mind the villains. I know you did.
I found them all so annoying.
I thought.
I understand that as part of the plot, they all are the embodiment of one emotion, but the way it is the way that they express it and the way it is written into episodes, I just found to be extremely irritating.
I really thought it was fine because of the way that they did express. They were like the extremes.
They were the extremes, but for me, it didn't work.
Okay. The entire show.
I've said my piece on that.
Yeah, we basically said our piece. It's like the romance aspect was not explored well, and this hurt it. When we get to this in comparison, it's going to be a very different story.
Oh yeah.
Oh, because they did it well.
They did
in Power Rangers.
They just did it.
They just did it.
So is it my turn for why I actually enjoy this show?
Go ahead.
Of course. I mean, you
weren't ready.
We never are.
I think there's a dog howling about 7 blocks away. From that. Anyway, the reason why I enjoy Kyoryuger so much, despite the red, and to a degree, I agree with everything you have said negative about him because you're right, and I can't deny it.
If you disagree, you disagree.
I just don't. But I enjoyed the supporting cast a lot more than Jacob did, and it seems like you did. I thought I really enjoyed them as an ensemble. I enjoyed the lighthearted tone of this show. I enjoyed the music aspect. I enjoyed the fight scenes. To put it in like a retrospective or a comparison, I am equating this as a Sentai to Hobbs and Shaw as a movie. No one's gonna... No, but no one...
Where are you going with this?
Yeah. No one is going to that movie to think, to look at it deeply, to look at the characters and think how three-dimensional and how deep are they.
Yeah, you're right.
They are going to that movie to watch The Rock and Jason Statham kick ass, be funny, and
Idris Elba.
And Idris Elba and seven cars tied together on a cargo bob on a helicopter flying away. That is how I look at Kyoryuger. I turn my brain off and I just enjoy the fuck out of it because that's all it was to me. It was an absolutely fun ride.
Okay. Alternatively, this show should...
comparison.
I just love the look on your face. Where the fuck is he going with this?
It's you want to know what else is kind of funny? I was looking at Box Office Mojo to see where it was doing at the box office. Just as you brought that up, I was literally on the Hobbs and Shaw page seeing how it was doing. And
how is it doing?
What?
Tangent.
Not great. We'll talk about this after. Things considered.
Alternatively, this show is not a Sentai. It is a writer's show disguised.
Yes.
And
you brought this up earlier, and that's a great way to put it.
This is what we're going to get over the next several Sentai that we review. With Tokucast and Ninja, and even to an extent Zyuden. This show is what we're going to get over the next several Sentai. And it's very problematic in the way that they end up approaching this. This might end up being a Toku Talk by itself later on. But I really feel like they should have stepped back after this going into Tokucast and be more about the team aspect instead of focusing so much on the red, especially at the end, where it's just like all these things keep circling around him. We'll get this with -1 Ichigo. And I really don't like it when they take a team-based show and make it about one person. I said this in my Battleizer rant a while ago.
No, and I don't disagree with you.
It's just like, you have got to go out and actually utilize your team.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made Go Busters better than this, in my opinion. Because when they got that power up, it was for everybody. Except for Gold and Silver, but that's because of a whole different issue.
But...
when you have this, it's just like you take away that team and just make it a writer, and it makes it uninteresting to watch.
Maybe that's another reason why I enjoyed this so much, because I've always preferred Kamen Rider over Sentai.
I'm just looking at this like as a fan of just Sentai, more Sentai than anything else. It's like you're Ultraman, you're a writer, me Sentai. So we have the three of us. But
this is going to be one interesting in comparison when we talk about Dino Charge. Look forward to that next week.
Join us for that next week.
But let us know what you think about Kyoryuger in the comments below. Who do you agree with?
Oh, what? Oh!